Yeah, welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast Live. Yes. Yeah, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get into it. Got some pretty interesting topics for you here today. Definitely gonna be NBA heavy. Obviously, we just got finished with the conference finals, and now we know who's playing in the NBA finals. But before we get to that, you know what time it is. If you're here on YouTube and you haven't already, please make sure you go ahead, click that like, that subscribe, that notification bell. Make sure you're kept up to date whenever we drop new content on the channel. If you want the audio-only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in the Format Podcast, and we should come right up. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you give us that like, that 5-star review, and drop a comment. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. And finally, make sure you write it down, put it in your phone, set an alarm, do whatever you got to do to remember. Saturday nights at 7 p.m. we are live here on the Format Podcast, and we'll give you the opportunity to call in, talk to us, get at me. I love it. I can't wait. All right, so full disclosure, I'm a Boston Celtics fan, been one for a long time, but that said, as a journalist, I think that I'm also capable of separating myself from fandom and kind of looking at this thing objectively. So the Boston Celtics, we know, are now headed to the NBA Finals for the 23rd time in franchise history, and that's pretty special. And they're 12-2 this postseason, and so we saw there that was the post-game celebration after Game 4, after they completed the sweep of the Indiana Pacers, and we saw Jaylen Brown get awarded with the Larry Bird Trophy for Eastern Conference Finals Most Valuable Player, which that was kind of interesting because he played extremely well, but Jason Tatum averaged 30 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists on 46% shooting. He was only 30% from three, but overall a very good series. Now, quick side note, he averaged 30 and he was 30% from three. So imagine he gets that up to 35. He's gonna put up some numbers. But okay. What's up, G? What's up? Oh, Dallas in 6. Interesting. So we'll talk about that. So Celtics are 12-2 this postseason. Just swept the Pacers in the conference finals. Very good basketball team, obviously. And a lot of people, a lot of sports books, a lot of people had them pretty much all year as the team to beat in the NBA. I don't know that I necessarily felt that way. Just kind of watched and saw, obviously, an elite offensive team. Kind of worried at times about the defense. Obviously, it's not the same defensive team that it was when Ime Udoka was head coach. But Mazzulla has done, and his coaching staff have done a good job with the Celtics. They play really good defense at times. They've got three really good defensive players in Brown, Holiday, and Derek White. And everybody else plays defense really well as a unit, so they can be a lockdown defensive team when they're really checked into playing defense. So Jaylen Brown, he got the Eastern Conference Finals Most Valuable Player award, and coincidentally, that's a guy who got snubbed for All NBA and All Defensive Team, which kind of odd. But I guess that helped him because that put a chip on his shoulder, right? He talked about how he never wins anything, which I was like, wow. But he's been All NBA before, which is what allowed him to get that Supermax contract. Was it 305 he signed for last offseason? $305 million? Whew, a lot of dough. And Jason Tatum is coming up on his too. But anyway, the Celtics they're a very well-rounded team. They've got 5 players averaging double figures on the season, 2 more scoring 9+ points per game. And so that right there, I think that's very dangerous, having that type of balance, being able to score like that. You got guys who can get hot and get busy on any given night. And then, of course, you got Porzingis coming back, and we'll talk about him shortly. But meanwhile, in the Western Conference, and you got a couple storylines there, which we'll get to going forward. But Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, and the Mavericks are lined up as the opposition. And to me, this NBA Finals is an absolute pick'em. And so we saw that was that game 5 absolute blowout where Luka just came out. I think he outscored the entire Timberwolves team by himself in the first quarter. I think he had 20 points. He finished with about 36, but that 20-point first quarter really set the tone. Where are we here? If Kyrie averaged 29 and Luka averaged 30, the media would never snub Luka for MVP like they did Tatum. Interesting. Yeah, I don't think Tatum made top 5 in the MVP voting. I don't think he should have won it, but he didn't even make top 5, which I thought was ridiculous. I'm like, seriously, that's not a good look. But yeah, we can see here that I think if it goes 7, that favors Boston. Yeah, I think you're right. It's not that serious. They have the home court, and the Celtics are pretty good historically in home court in those type of games. But yeah, where were we? So yeah, I think that this final series is it's up in the air for me. I have no idea who's going to win this thing. I can't even pick one. But what Luka and Kyrie did in the Western Conference Finals was just ridiculous, man. Especially like I said in that closeout game. So obviously you saw there in the clip, Luka won the Western Conference Finals MVP, the Magic Johnson Trophy. He averaged 32, 9, and 8. And he shot 43% from 3, which to me is the dangerous part because Luka I think he's on the year about 34% from 3. So you get him knocking down shots like that, it is dangerous. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. Man Down Sports, you were referring to the conference finals MVP. Yeah, you're right. I get what you're saying. Yeah, about Tatum getting snubbed for MVP. I got you. But regardless, he still got snubbed, at least in the MVP voting for the regular season. But you're right. Yeah, so Luka and Kyrie, man, those two right there, man. But yeah, Luka shooting 43% from 3. You cannot allow that. You cannot allow that defensively. You got to do everything you can to try and bring that down to his normal levels. And he went absolutely nuts. And I believe he's the first player ever to lead the playoffs in points, rebounds, and assist totals going into the finals. I don't think that's ever happened before. So all you LeBron fans that love to throw these kind of stats out there, well, there you go. That's a new one for you, right? Luka's the first person to done that. To do that, excuse me, LeBron has never done it. Meanwhile, you got Kyrie Irving, averaging 27 and 5 in the Western Conference Finals, and oddly enough, that looks a whole lot like what he did for LeBron back in the days when he was in Cleveland in 2016, right? He averaged about 27 a game there. I think he averaged maybe 25 on that season. He averaged 27 a game in the finals. Obviously, we know he hit the big shot over Steph in order to seal that for LeBron and for the Cavaliers. Very interesting that the kind of how reminiscent it is when we see Luka and Kyrie and LeBron and Kyrie. Very interesting. Anyway, I think this team being the Mavericks, they're almost a perfect match, like almost a mirror image of the Celtics. They also have 5 players in double figures on the year, with 2 more scoring over 9. And I think the depth works out really well on both sides. And so now you get the matchup, and I heard Man Down Sports kind of discussing this last night. I guess which was the better duo? Is it Tatum and Brown, or is it Kyrie and Luka? And I think, man, that's just up in the air. However you want to look at that. That you can make legitimate arguments for both, but I think Tatum and Brown could almost cancel out Luka and Kyrie. Now, of course, there's the chance that Luka goes nuclear, which we have seen, which is career high 73 he hit earlier this year. I think he's got a 60 and 20 triple double this season. So Luka can do some really ridiculous things when he gets going. However, we know that this is a 7-game series, and in a 7-game series, you have a lot of opportunity to really set the defense and kind of work things. It's not one game where somebody can just go off like that. It's a lot harder to go off like that over the course of 7 games. So adjustments will be made. We know Jason Kidd, brilliant basketball mind. Mazzulla, obviously a really good offensive coach as well. But if it's coming to coaching, then obviously I'm going to give Jason Kidd one of the best, a top 5 point guard all time in my estimation. I'm going to give him that nod. He's been to the finals three times as a player, so he can also kind of guide his players there on what it takes. Obviously, he can't be on the floor with them, but he can guide them as to what it takes to be in this environment. Now, with that said, of course, right, you got Tatum and Brown and some of the other guys on this team. They've been to the finals as well, so they can advise their guys. This is almost like a perfect matchup. It's so even, and that's why I'm so lost on it. Like, who's coming out on top and what's what. Boston has to find a way to speed up Luka's pace of play. So it's not that serious. That sounds really good, and I'm totally with you. You can't just theoretically, you can't just let Luka do whatever he wants, but realistically, who has been able to speed up Luka's pace of play? Luka will play at the pace that Luka wants to play at, and Luka will he will continue to hit shots. He's weird in that you really can't stop him from getting to his spot. I don't like the Larry Bird comparison, but in that way, there is some reminiscence to the great Larry Legend in terms of a guy that you just can't stop from getting to his spot. Also, maybe a James Harden in his prime. You can't stop him from getting to his spot, and he's going to get his. Now, the difference between him and Harden, obviously, is Luka does it effectively in the playoffs. Harden does not. That's going to be what it's going to be. But so I think to your point, and I was actually getting to this, it's not that serious, is that the Celtics have the opportunity to throw a lot of different type of defenders at Luka and Kyrie, right? So we saw in the last series, Ant Edwards said before the start, he says, I want Kyrie. I'm going to, or, loose quote, but I'm going to D up Kyrie. And that was his primary assignment, and that clearly didn't work out too well, right? Kyrie went off 27 a game in that series. But you have a situation where, at least if I'm coaching the Celtics, I'm throwing a whole bunch of different bodies at these guys. I'm throwing, he's going to get a healthy diet. Luka and Kyrie, they're going to both get healthy diets of Tatum, Brown, Holiday, White, depending on what you got with Porzingis, him, because they're going to try to get him in the pick and roll, but hopefully, the Celtics are going to be too smart for that. But the point is, you have a lot of options defensively to throw at guys, and the plus is no one's going to stop either one of them, right? No one's going to stop Luka. No one's going to stop Kyrie, but showing them different bodies and different defenders might be able to keep them from kind of getting into a rhythm and make them consistently have to change what they do based on the defender, right? Because if Drew Holiday's defending me, that might not be the same way offensively I attack him as maybe I try to attack a Jason Tatum, right? So, I can never really get comfortable in, okay, this is my matchup, I'm going to attack him this way, blah, 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 right? So there's that. But I think, as always, this series is going to come down to what role players can be the most effective for which team. It's always that, right? Now we know the big guns always have to be firing on all cylinders, and they have to do their thing. We know that. For instance, we saw Tatum, I think a couple of years ago against the Warriors. He set the all-time record in a playoff run for turnovers, and I think he set the finals record for turnovers and all that. That didn't help. But when you have your role players really stepping up and playing their role, it makes it a lot easier to win championships. And every great champion is going to tell you that. I think, so I was talking earlier about feeding Kyrie and Luka a steady diet of different defenders. And I think that is really going to be helpful to some degree, but again, not stop them, maybe slow them down, right? It's a small thing, but for the championship up against elite offensive players, you really have to put out all the stops. There's not a whole lot you can do, all right? So then the question now becomes, is Porzingis the X factor? Will Porzingis be rusty? Will he be well rested? I think they said that he's gonna probably playing game one, and I think he's been out for like 6 weeks, right? So he's been doing all his workout and all his rehab and all that. But again, will he be rusted or will he be well rested? Where and how is he going to be most effective when he's in the game? How is he going to fit back into the machine that is the Celtics offense? Because they've been a machine without him. They've been really good. Now, can you just, okay, Porzingis, you're back, plug him in? Is that going to work? How does that work? I don't know. How do you get him touches without ruining the flow of the offense as it has been? Now, I'll say this. maybe it's me, but it's my opinion that the Celtics offense, as good as it is, doesn't necessarily have a whole lot of flow, because some games it's Jason Tatum taking over, other games it's Jaylen Brown, and it's almost like, okay, your turn, my turn, instead of working together within the flow to have something sweet going. But it is what it is. Then another question: will Jason Tatum be more efficient? Is he going to shoot better than 30% from three? Maybe, maybe not. Will Jaylen Brown try too hard? We know he's got a chip on his shoulder. He feels like he never wins anything. Is he going to try too hard to take over this series and win it for the Celtics? Don't know. He's always looking to prove that he's actually worthy of whatever snubs that he feels he's received. So there's all of that. So we got a bunch of questions, man. We got a bunch of questions. Who's going to win? Don't ask me. I have no clue. This is such an evenly matched series in my estimation. I have no idea, but I think it's going to be really enjoyable to watch. It's going to be a really good series. Watching Tatum and Brown and Kyrie and Luka, it's going to be really special. But to quote my man Down Sports, I guess a lot's going to depend on that whistle. So we're going to see what we get, and I'm not going to say the league is going to rig anything, but we're going to see what we get and how the officiating demonstrates what the league does or doesn't want. So that's that. All right. What I'm going to do now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and open up the phone lines. Hopefully I get a call or two regarding this topic. Definitely would love to hear from you on the NBA Finals and what you think about it, what you think about this matchup, who you think may be the most impactful player. So yeah, go ahead, give us a call. Number's 904-219-8264, 904-219-8264. Love to hear from you on this topic. Okay, no calls on that one. Looks like we're just flying through these topics. All right. So, next topic. This one, man, was this one really got me thinking. Okay, so Anthony Edwards, the guy they were talking about. Okay, looks like we got a call. Go ahead, take this. Call the Format Podcast.
Hello.
Hello.
Yep.
Hey, do me a favor. Turn off YouTube in the background, please.
Or turn up. Or YouTube is. Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, mute it or turn it off. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Who's calling?
Norris.
What's up, Norris? It's first time calling?
Yeah,
I think so.
I was listening. Yeah, I was listening to the broadcast that song. So he said he was calling to see who he think is the better team out of the Mavericks and Boston. Well, what I've been watching, I think Boston is a better team.
Okay. Tell me why you think that.
They're real strong. Tatum and Brown. Yeah, I mean they work really good together. And the other player with that, he has that white wrapped around his head. What's his name? I forgot his name.
Yeah, Drew Holiday.
Drew, yeah. Those three guys are good.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Very good. I'm in Texas.
Okay.
So I like the Mavericks, but I watch both teams.
Mm-hmm.
I love Kyrie. Kyrie is my buddy. Kyrie and Luka, I mean, they're bad. They're good too.
Mm-hmm.
But I know we got three good guys, and Tatum, Brown, and Drew. You say what's his name?
Drew Holiday. Yeah.
Drew Holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are good. They're good.
So that's what I was going to ask you. I think that this is such an evenly matched finals, and I'm not mad at anyone who leans either way, whether or not you think that's going to be the Celtics, whether you think it's going to be the Mavericks. What do you think is kind of the difference maker, the differentiator that puts, excuse me, that puts Tatum and Brown over Luka and Kyrie? Because I think that
Tatum can shoot them threes.
Mm-hmm.
He can. Brown, he gets in the corner over there, and Tatum feeds him. He's pretty good. And Drew is always hustling up and down, up into the middle, into the towards the basket. They're always hustling.
Mm-hmm. So what chance do I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I think that's the key right there.
Mhm.
They don't rely. You know, they're always working. They don't take no time off. Those
Okay,
three guys right there.
so check this out, right? Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, two guys not really known for defense, but since March, since the beginning of March, Jason Kidd he had a meeting with the team, and since
Uh-huh.
then, the Mavericks have been number one in the league in defense. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, they're good. They're really good. They're really good.
Mm-hmm.
As I say, you know, I like my team, the Mavericks, but I'm looking at the matchup. I love Kyrie. I mean, Kyrie does some spectacular things.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, how he does that.
Right.
That Kyrie is. I've been watching Kyrie since he played with LeBron
Yeah.
and the Cavaliers
Mm-hmm.
when they won that championship. Kyrie was always my player. But
Mm-hmm.
when he went to the Nets, I mean, he kind of, I don't know, I really wanted the Nets to excel.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, they messed that up. They're playing here in Harden, and then guys, they start taking games off and just mess that team up.
Yeah,
But,
well, there's a lot more to that, but no, I hear
yeah,
what
yeah.
you're saying, but I'm just looking at this thing, and believe me, as a lifelong Celtics fan, I would love to see the Celtics win championship number 18, if for no other reason than to torture Lakers fans.
Yeah.
but even
I'm
yeah,
I came from LA, so I just moved from LA into Texas.
okay,
The Lakers was my team all
right,
the way. But, you know,
hmm
right now they're not something. They're the players. They don't have. I think they don't have the right players or whatever is going on there.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
That's a
but
different.
man, I'm scared of Boston. That's all I'm saying.
Mm,
I'm really scared of Boston because that Tatum, he's tough. I mean, he shoots those trees like just like I would say like Steph. Steph is the best
hmm
3 point shooter.
hmm
But Tatum is kind of right behind him. Luka is bad. You see that last game right here? How
Oh,
he just shot
absolutely,
off the tree?
absolutely.
Did you
So
see that?
yeah,
Huh?
definitely. I was actually going to talk about that, and because you're talking about Tatum being able to shoot the three, and yes, he can shoot the three. But this past series, the Eastern Conference Finals, he shot 30% from three, and Luka shot 43% from
Yeah,
three
man. Ooh.
against Minnesota. So you
Yeah.
know now can Tatum get it going? Absolutely, he's got the ability to do that. But
Yeah,
will
he
he?
got the ability to do it. Like, he does. He does.
Mm-hmm,
I'm only saying, but I'm wishing for Mavericks to win.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I'm saying what I see on Boston.
Yeah, I hear you. I
But
also
I
think
love,
I think Dallas has a coaching advantage as well. Go ahead.
yeah, the coaching is damn good over
Mm-hmm.
there. And man, this last game, Luka came out. I said, "Oh well, we got this." He came out with them threes, and you were shooting them from all corners. I said, "Wow."
Mm-hmm.
And then you put Kyrie with that. Kyrie, this last game, the game that Kyrie really worked was, I think, was one, two. I think it was the third game, the second or third game. That ball was working.
Mm-hmm. So here's the thing, right? Because of the way Luka came out and got busy from jumping game five,
Right.
people don't even realize Kyrie Irving had 36 in that game, right?
Yeah, right.
So
That's
so that's scary when you got a guy who can have 36 and it's quiet. So
quiet. Yeah.
that's why I'm saying like Dallas is so dangerous. I think
Oh
it's
no.
just an even matchup.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you could say that. I think so. I'm just scared of that Tatum guy. You know, that guy. He's something else.
Yeah, I mean we've seen he's got the capability to go off. I think was that the year they went to the finals 2 years ago when they played. He had the game six winner go home against Milwaukee, and I think he gave him about 47. So Tatum can
Yeah.
go off, absolutely, no question. No,
Oh yeah,
nobody's
yeah.
saying that he's not outstanding, huh?
Mhm. You could go up. That's the only guy I'm really keen on the Boston. Brown and Drew, they're pretty good, but you
Mm-hmm.
know Tatum, I think Tatum, he gets that ball, man. I don't know. He get a clear shot. That's it.
All right, all right.
But
You got anything else you want to add?
I just love my Kyrie and my Luka, but I still have a little thing in the back of Tatum. And I really enjoy your show, buddy. So you take care and keep on doing what you're doing, okay?
Hey, I appreciate that, man. Make sure you like the show and subscribe to the channel and make sure you share it
Oh
with
yeah,
other people too.
well yeah, oh yeah. No, it's a good show. That's the first time I saw you, and I kept on and you were talking the way you were talking. Oh yeah, he's pretty good. He knows his stuff.
I appreciate that, brother. Thanks so much, man. Don't be a stranger, and I'm gonna save your number and make sure you call next time. We do this
Oh
every
yeah.
Saturday
So,
night.
all right. You take care, my friend.
All right, brother. You have a good one.
Right.
All right. Let's see what we got here. Nino, what's up, my man? How you doing? Boston in 6. Listen, I'd love to see it. Antoine, what's going on, man? How you doing?
It's going. Can you hear me clear?
I can hear you clear, man.
All right.
What you got?
No, sometimes my headset is trippy. I would have called in earlier, but I was finishing dinner.
I hear you, man.
Yeah, but as far as like Dallas and Boston,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have a dog in the fight.
Right.
I just want to see a really good series.
Oh, you will.
And my thing is this for Boston.
Mm-hmm.
They if Dallas you give them 5 games, I think they would win. That's why I made a comment in 7. Boston would win because they have too many more players. They're healthy because the East, frankly, everyone that Boston has beaten, in the stars is injured, and it's not Boston's fault that happened. It is what it is.
Right.
But as far as them really being tested, this is a real test.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
somebody and Luka, I'm not as high as people on him, but I'm not low on him either. One thing I said about that young man, um, he does handle adversity pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Not I ain't gonna say like superb, but pretty good. Because when he's challenged, folks going after him, he plays at his own pace, and no one seems to speed that man up. And I was listening to your commentary, man, and you're right, man. You gotta find a way to make the man speed up because everyone kind of bends to his will. So I wonder what will be the different schemes. Was they double team him and switch? I don't know what they're gonna do with him. But the reason why I say about the whole game 17 is that he's still injured and everybody knows that. How does Boston manipulate,
Mm-hmm.
to
Okay.
their favor because they haven't had any long series. They have injury, they have players, and with or without the injuries. If they're focused and play to their strength, they win this series relatively easy. What are your thoughts on that?
So here's the thing. I just thought about it as you were talking about it in terms of trying to slow Luca down and all of that. So one of the things I said earlier was you want to between him and Kyrie, you want to throw a bunch of different bodies at them defensively to try and keep them from getting into a rhythm with any one defender. So there's that, right? But also, if we think about it, I don't know why I didn't think about this earlier. You gotta try to you got to do everything you can to deny Luca the ball, right? If he gets the ball, trap him and get it out of his hands. Make somebody else beat you. Even on the inbounds, maybe you try to you can't do it on every play. It's not college, but try to deny him the inbounds, right? Try to deny him the inbounds, make him work harder just to get it and to begin to initiate offense. So I think what you do is you try as much as possible to keep the ball out of his hands because we know he's a high volume usage rate guy. And so even though his usage rate is down this playoff run, but on the whole, he's a high usage rate guy. So if you can, when he gets the ball, especially when he's in his spots, he's tall enough that he can see and pass out of it, but you have to try and trap him, i.e., but the thing is, you can't just bring the trap the same way every time. You got to bring it from different angles and with different bodies so he can't get comfortable breaking the trap. So there's different things you can do. And again, you're not going to stop Luca. The goal is you got to make it harder on him. It's really hard to stop any elite offensive player, but if you make it harder on him, i.e., like I said, try to keep the ball away from him, deny him the ball, trap the ball, get it out of his hands, make one of these other guys beat you. I think that's your best and only hope. Now, have other people try to do that. In watching, it doesn't appear to be that other people have tried to do that, but they should.
Like, when I think about Kyrie, for example, he's been vilified over narratives. You
Mm-hmm.
know, oh, he didn't want to play with LeBron and stuff like that. And what makes that, and so to me, this is a person. LeBron tried to get him traded, and he responded to that. I mean, you know, Cleveland was told that was going to be a team. Even when LeBron came back, LeBron going to do a thing. The new LeBron was going to leave. And so he was thinking that was still going to be a thing, but he was willing to, you know, partner with LeBron and partner with Cleveland, but they were trying to do him dirty behind his back. So that shows you how I think Kyrie, all time great. I don't know where you rank him, but I think he's grossly underrated because of the narrative that surrounds him, the cancer, you know, and all the different beliefs they try to put that in, which
Mm-hmm.
have nothing to do with basketball at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's from a basketball perspective. LeBron don't get chip number 3 if Kyrie isn't there. And
Correct.
then to even add that, even though they got a gentleman's sweep, if if Kyrie didn't go superstar again in the game that they did win, they get swept.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a very dangerous player
Absolutely.
because he can play off ball, he can play with the ball. You know, he's very, very tactical with how he approached the game. And I know a lot of that has to do with, you know, how he responded to Kobe and other influences.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he is such a wild card in a very positive way because, you know, they try to make him seem abstract and mysterious and then they want to challenge some of the other things that he espoused, but to get all that, that man is a very good basketball player. He's very cerebral and surgical. So when we talk about Luka, you know, slowing him down, if Kyrie gets hot, you know, there's going to be problems for the Boston. And then another thing is how he was perceived and how he left Boston. And then, you know, can he win without LeBron? All these different negative narratives that surround him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just curious to see how he's produced in this series. So I have no dog in the fight. The Boston men are fine. The guys going to fight because I'm not either fan of them. But I really want to see how Kyrie approaches this series. What do you say to that?
I think that Kyrie is going to continue to do what he's been doing. He seems very at peace with himself. He's just playing ball. He's playing Kyrie ball, but he's playing within the flow. He's not forcing anything, and he's doing his work when it's time to do the work. Okay, Luka, you're a little tired. All right, I got this. You know what I mean? Okay, Luka, you set the table. I'm gonna go ahead and finish it off. Okay, Luka, you want me to start it off? I'll start it off. So I think Kyrie, he's so gifted as a player that he can kind of fit in wherever he needs to fit in on the team and kind of deliver whatever the team needs when the team needs it. I think he's that gifted. So I think he will probably attempt to feel it out early. And then wherever he feels it's necessary or wherever his coach says it's necessary, that's when Kyrie will deliver. And there are very few players that are that talented that they can do that. But Kyrie is one of them. That's my thought.
Yeah. All right, man. I agree with that, man. This is an incredible topic, man, and yeah, looking forward to the rest of the show.
Hey man, I appreciate that. Oh, yeah, no. Gee, that's a good point. Celtics fans versus Kyrie. I think they respect the type of player that he is, but we'll see what type of greeting they give him. Obviously, the Celtics fans are going to want no one or nothing standing in front of them and championship banner number 18. So, you know, we'll see how that goes.
All right.
All right, man. You take it easy. Thanks for the call,
All right,
Antonio.
you too, man.
All right, brother. Have a good one.